Okay, so my patron submitted this gameplay review of Agrowl Rillaboom Mew3 versus Tempo Zard. It's the finals of a PC4? No, the top 4 of a PC4 tournament. And yeah, so I'm going to be watching this and reviewing. Before my power went out, we had already watched the first few minutes, so I might be referencing, you know, things I had already said or like things I already saw, but I'll try to include everything in this second try, in this second run through, second attempt. Okay, here we go. Let's turn off the music. So Medichamp chooses to go second to try to use super growth on turn 1. Opponent draws and does not use Stellar Wish, just passes. So that's something that Wallace had pointed out in the chat earlier, that the opponent just didn't do anything. They didn't Stellar Wish or anything. So here, so here we have Medichamp's hand is 2 boss, swell, 2 energy, thwacky, Crobat. So looking at this hand, we just want to maximize our Crobat potential. So play down swell, play down boss, attach energy so you can then retreat into Agrowl if you draw into it, and then Crobat for a total of 3 cards would be the correct line of play. So there's the swell, there's the energy, and here's the boss. Opponent thinking about the boss. Yeah, there we go. Boss is correct. You have 2 in hand, so you just want to draw cards to get where you're going, or where you need to go, I should say. So gets the capture energy, which is unfortunate, and whiffs quick ball or tag ball or the Agrowl to do super growth. So retreats into the Grookey, and I think it's correct to retreat into Grookey here, because it would be much easier for them to knock out Grookey than it is Mew3, and also you want to, you know, save your Grookey. If they had a way to replace Grookey and get Agrowl next turn, then it would be fine to let Grookey get knocked out there and just promote Mew3, because then you could like capture energy for another Grookey and super growth, but they don't have super growth, which is why they're in this position anyway. So correct to retreat there. The swell might be a fact. No, they don't have Hearth yet. Okay, so Welder just 1 energy and then attach an energy. And like I said, we were watching this already before my power went out, so I know they have a giant Hearth here. Yeah, there's a giant Hearth. Let me flip my camera around since I changed where it's at. There we go. That's better. Actually, no, I flipped it the wrong way. What am I saying? I thought it was better. I'm a mess. Let me stop this for a second. This is what happens when I try to make things better. I make it worse. There we go. I thought I was looking the wrong way on screen, but that was because I was looking over here at this monitor. All right. Let's rewind here for a second. I got distracted. Okay. So, like I was saying, the opponent has Hearth here. I knew that already because we were watching it earlier. So the swell's good there. They only got 1 energy down with the welder. Looks like they did have Hearth prior to the welder. They have Hearth prior to the welder anyway. And then pass. Just draws another energy, which really sucks. And Medichamp will have to put down a Row Egg here to then super growth. I don't think I like this boss though. Let me think about this for a second. I don't think I like boss's orders there. Hey Gassy, thank you so much for the tier 1 at 20 months. 20 months, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Okay. So let's look at their discard again. Because I want to get the context of why my Metachamp boss is here. Oh crap. Okay. Once Scoop Up Net down, we know they just played Hearth, and it got discarded because of Swell. They weldered for 3. Hearth was one of those cards, presumably. Also, another Energy was one of those cards, I think. And now, what did they... oh, wait, hang on. What did they wish for? They wished for the Welder. Okay. I don't know if I like this boss. So capture energy for Agral is probably like the only thing to do there. Like, I don't think there's anything else you could do there, but I don't think I like this. I don't think I like the boss. Also, another oh, crap. Okay. Okay. So I need to read Agral real quick. So what Medichamp does here is they didn't evolve this Grookey into Thwackey to preserve the Thwackey, but they prized their other Thwackey, which, so the misplay here is when they capture energy, they're rushing. You'll see how quick they're playing. And this is something that happens a lot. Players will play quicker than they have to. So they cap energy here for the Agral, but they don't even bother to check and see if the second Thwackey is in the deck, which it's not. One click to the right and they could have seen that. So they could have evolved this Thwackey to then super growth right into Rillaboom. Another thing is, I think Wonder Lab is a thought here. Like, I think I'd play Wonder Lab before I played Boss, because I would assume the opponent didn't draw into Fire Energy, Hearth, and Hearth. We already know that Medichamp's opponent drew Fire Energy and Hearth off of the Welder, so I'm assuming that they didn't draw double Hearth. Of course, it could be possible, but I think playing down the Wondrous Lab, if you're going for this boss play as a disruption, I think Wondrous Lab might also be a good disruption. But of course, later in the game, it's better to hold on to it because of Giant Hearth coming down, then you bump that Giant Hearth, and then they're down 2 Giant Hearts instead of they get to replace it with theirs. You get to bump it. I'm more so saying that because of this disruption strategy that the opponent's going for by bossing up the Blacephalon and then using super growth. Also, a fairy asks in the chat if Wonder Lab makes super growth cost 1. Yeah, it would. So they have the energy requirement for it. But if, yeah, so like, I think if you're gonna use your second boss here on Blown, you might also just play out the Wonder Lab to, like, even more so prevent them doing something next turn. But the really big, the obvious thing here is Medichamp didn't search the deck for Thwackey. Like, that's the obvious thing. So could have evolved Thwackey down from Grookey and then super growth Thwackey into Boom and be on his merry way. So yeah, that was super rough. Maybe that boss play was like very questionable to me, but maybe it ends up saving him. No, they have Scoop Up Net. Yeah, that's like the reason why I wouldn't do it, because they have a hand of 5 cards. We don't know what any of them are. But not playing the Wonder Slab turns out to be good for them, it looks like. But yeah, the cap energy, not knowing the other Thwacky's not in there, not evolving that Thwackey, that was just a series of events that really puts them behind here. And if the opponent has boss's orders, that, like, I don't see any way to come back from that. But now Medichampc has the bump. Medichampc can bump the Hearth with Wondrous Labyrinth. Here's the boss's orders. Oh my goodness. Like, the lead that the opponent has here is just ridiculous now. It would really be doable if Rillaboom was on the board. An insult to injury drawing the Rillaboom there. But if they have to just outrage here, that would be a chance to make some moves, I'd say. Well, getting the Thwackey out of the deck on the evolution would have thinned out the deck, and Medichampcg is dead drawing here, or yeah, barely drawing well enough to stay in the game, if this is even staying in the game at this point, it looks like. But super growthing the Thwackey, the hypothetical Thwackey, out of the deck onto the board would thin the deck out by 1, which it's a minute difference, but I do like that, and that might be what they were thinking. I'll hold this Thwackey and not evolve, so I get 1 extra card out of my deck. Of course, it ends up biting them in the butt because the Thwackey was not in the deck. It was prized. El Prizo. Holding on to the Wonder Lab, though, looks like it was good. Yeah, Outrage 30. Okay, so here's the chance. Here's the comeback, and that's just a grass energy. But the Mewtwo's gonna live. Mewtwo's gonna live. Yeah, so the thing about checking your prizes is I was prize checking for Players Cup 3. I didn't prize check for Players Cup 4. But for Players Cup 3 I did. And I do at Worlds, and I do at sometimes at ICs. It also depends on the deck I'm playing, and like if I think I have the extra time to like look through the deck and memorize it and things like that, or if I'm even going to bother. And if I have the time to look through the deck and write it down, or if I can just look for a few important cards and see if they're there. So I didn't for PC4 though. I just kind of glanced at my deck to look for a couple important things and then moved on. But if you have the time, what you do in these events, since you have, you're on a computer, you can write it on a piece of paper, on your phone, on a different monitor, in a Google Doc, whatever you want. But like back in formats where I think it was more important to check prizes, I did it much more often. Like, so I practiced prize checking with like Zoroark Control. But whereas like with pikarom, I like Zaya said in chat, with pikarom I just look for Coco, I look for Raichu, I look for like if there's a boss prize so I can play to my outs and stuff. But yeah, to avoid doing something like that, it's best to just check your prizes. It's a good practice to do. Do you have a Snorlax from Plasma? I'm looking everywhere. I only have 1, and I would honestly like more. They're hard to get because not only are they playable in Expanded, they're also playable in Legacy format, and they're hard to come by. But yeah, I don't. So here, Medichampcg actually doesn't look like they're in the worst position in the world. They hit Zard, of course, remember, down by 3 prizes because they boss double blazed the aggro. but used whatever Agral's second attack is called, not Tropical Hour. What's it called? 150 and heal 30. Calming Hurricane. So gets to fully heal, since all the opponent could do last turn was Outrage because of Wonder Lab. And Tropical Hour hit for 150. Outrage will only do 180 this turn if they Outrage again, or attach an energy and they can use Flare Strike for 230, but I don't really think there's much of a difference between Flare Strike or Outrage. It's pretty negligible. Welder to the active, which I don't like at all, because they should be setting up another Pokemon on the bench. Yeah, that, I think this is poor from our opponent, from Medichamp's opponent, because you could just Outrage for 180 and leave Mew3 with 90 HP, and that's not so much different than leaving it with 40 HP, or if they healed and leaving it with 120 or 70, respectively. I also think that was premature from the opponent. Like, I wonder what they're even drawing for here. Like, with the Crobat, do they forget that they already used Double Blaze? I think that might be a possibility. Are they looking for Hearth to bump and get an energy, and then Double Blaze 300? Oh, wait, they can't because of the GX counter? I don't know what was going on there, but the opponent misplayed terribly. It might give Medichamp a chance to come back here. And also, the scoop up net is just so bad here. Like, this, I cannot express how bad the scoop up net here on that Jirachi is, chat. Like, because not only do they do it prematurely, like they there's no use out of Oricorio this turn, which is what they're benching after it, but now they can't send up the Jirachi after Reshizar gets knocked out. So they're losing a Stellar Wish out of this, and they're losing a scoop up net out of it. Yeah, exactly. They're about to have an open bench space anyway. And on top of it all, they weldered one energy to active when they could have just outraged for 180. So they're trying to give our boy Metachamp here the game. Yo, what's up T-Lackey? Yeah, we're doing VOD reviews. Just one tonight, but I'm encouraging patrons and subs to submit them. Okay, so Malolana to heal, and then Calming Hurricane to heal even more. Yeah, so I'll talk more about this later, about like the amount of actions and decisions and things that just, even in the worst formats of Pokemon TCG, there's always a lot of decisions to make based on how kind of free moving the game is. Basically it's not a mana system card game, but I'll talk more about that after the VOD review. Basically though, Metachamp here didn't have many options. They had a 3-card hand. One of them was Malolana, so they used it. And, you know, and then they Voltage beat Energy to Crobat Retreat. Or, yeah, I think they Voltage beat. It doesn't really matter if they Voltage beat or attached, but I'm pretty sure they Voltage beat to Crobat and then retreated and then knockout. So, like, that was the only line of play, I think. I don't really think there was anything else to do there. So... yeah, that was kind of a blah turn in terms of reviewing for Metachamp there. Now, on the opponent's side, who, if I was doing a VOD review for the opponent, they'd be getting a lot of value here, because that Cramorant they're sending up could have been a flippin' Jirachi with a scoop up net in hand. So they could have been like Oricorio for 3 and then Welder for 3 and then Stellar Wish to dig 5 deeper and look for something, and then have the scoop up net ready to go. It's just a shame what the opponent did there. It's a travesty, really. But Oricorio GX to draw 3 cards. And I think we're looking at the biggest comeback of the century here. Hey, Dwayner, that's good to hear. Hey, listen, chat, if anybody gets discouraged by by Players Cups, like Players Cup 2 was an awful experience for me. I think I played like 35 of my keys, and after 35 keys I had such little rep, there was like no point to even play my last 15 keys. Like I would have had to win all 15 or something. Like it was terrible, terrible. So like I'm not saying, oh, I'm the best player and even I didn't qualify for a Players Cup, but more so what I'm saying is I qualified for this Players Cup and didn't even use my last 9 keys, and Players Cup 2 went so poorly for me that I didn't even finish my keys because that's how bad of a spot I was in. So it really, you know, don't beat yourself up too much about it. Mine was all mental for PC2. Like I just was so disgusted with what Pokemon TCG felt like playing in standard format that I wasn't trying, but I also was upset about losing, so it was my own fault. And here we see the opponent attached to the Cramorant, which should have never been active because Jirachi should have been active to just then bench the... Oh god, okay, you guys get it. I'm not going to drill Team Green 1985 even harder. You know they messed up. Honestly, Dwayner, 8 months is like nothing. Keep having fun, keep improving. Okay, so the opponent did not get to do much, the opponent did not do much there, and really leaves Medichampcg with some room to breathe. So Ordinary Rod attached so they can Cricket Tune for 2 cards. And if and then they just Voltage Beat because now they put oh gosh. Oh, they could dig for Dragonite for game. So get the Dene here to dig for Dragonite and then discard it for game. Yeah, there's the Dragonite. And do they have more Quick Balls in the deck? I guess we'll find out. They should Voltage Beat here, though. Oh, okay, so should have Voltage Beat because they Ordinary Rotted... Hang on. Did I space out? They might have already Voltage Beated. Hang on 1 second. No, they didn't already Voltage Beat. Okay, so they should have Voltage Beated to get the energy out of the deck. Just slap it all on Mew2 Mew to get the energy out of the deck, I think. But if they whiff what they want, is it then better to hard retreat and attach to another Mewtwo and Mew? Probably not, because it won't even be able to attack because of Wonder Lab. So yeah, I think you Voltage Beat to thin out the deck because you just Ordinary Rotted energy back in. And then if you Voltage Beat here, then you can your backup is Tropical Hour GX for full effect. So definitely Voltage Beat for Dedenne for 2 reasons. Yeah, so can't discard the Dragonite. They can search out the Dragonite, but cannot discard it. They might be... Oh, no, they just Tropical Hour GX. That's it. Tropical Hour GX, and we're all going home. After Voltage Beat, right? Yeah, I think we want to voltage beat Tropical Hour for full effect. I can tell that Medichamp's definitely nervous here, though. If he GX dies to Outrage... True. GX die to Outrage, but shuffle in the energy. The opponent's down 3 Welder. Wonderlab's here. Because of Wonderlab, I think... Because they'll still need... They don't have a Hearth in play. I don't know. If, like... This is tough. I don't think you'd have any other option. Like, retreat feels bad because they might just have boss to win the game. Yeah, I don't like retreating here. I personally would have... I personally, in that moment, would have voltage beat Tropical Hour GX'd. But I also would have played differently prior to that because I would have voltage beat before to then quick ball for the den and, you know, thin out the deck to have a better shot at getting another quick ball on a Dragonite GX. Oh no, you're right. Okay, wait. Bart in chat is correct. Bart's always right. Yeah, I misspoke. They don't... Okay, no. Yeah, I was wrong. So this is actually a super safe... This is actually a super safe play. Yeah, okay, they're fine. Never mind. This retreat's 100% correct. I agree with number 1 in NA, T-Lackey, and number 1 in the world, Bart. I'm lucky to have number 1 NA and number 1 global in the chat. Unless the opponent pulls out a great catcher here. Yo, Metachamp, we're watching your VOD review here. Yeah, so I take back everything I said about Tropical Houring. If I would have tried... I honestly think, like, that's a weakness of mine, that sometimes I will, when I'm in the driver's seat, I will see my opponent's win condition of welder and boss at the same time being a viable thing. But when I'm watching somebody else's gameplay, like right now I'm watching this like I'm in the player's seat, which is a weakness of mine. But and I get tunnel vision, but when I'm watching somebody else play, I'll see that, you know, oh, that's not a win con because welder boss. But right now when I'm looking at this, I looked at that and saw, oh, welder boss can happen. Like, or they didn't flip their GX attack, they get to just attach and boss. So that was something I definitely missed there. The chat caught that retreating was the correct play. Okay. So do we have another Dedenne in the deck? No, we might. Yeah, because Tag Call's not looking at... Okay, yeah, I think there might be another Dedenne in deck. So Cherish Ball, Tag Call could let us cricket tune for 1, so that's not worth it. Because the ideal thing here is boss. Oh no, wait, I think Medichamp is down all 3 bosses at this point. I believe Medichamp's down all 3 bosses. Because right here, you would like to dig for boss plus Dragonite to discard, but I think Medichamp's out of bosses. Okay, also out of Dedenes, because I just saw when they flash over to the Incineroar, there's no Dedenne. Oh wait, Incineroar was also an out there to winning. Not only Dragonite, but Incineroar was too, so they just needed to draw into one of those and then something to discard it with. That's pretty rough. Okay, voltage, not voltage beat, yeah, voltage beat for double grass and then tropical hour. That has to be good, right? Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Marnie, but also, actually, let's go back, because I'm not a fan of Marnie, but what else could they do? Oh, Syncate. But actually, wait, so Team Green has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards. They have 10 cards in hand. And last turn, did they support her? Let's see what the opponent did here. They attach Stellar Wish for Switch. And then they didn't use the Switch, or they did? No, they don't end up using the Switch. Okay. With that size of hand, I think Marnie's fine. And they don't have the Dedenne in the deck. So they don't have the Dedenne in the deck to go for boss voltage beat. But I personally would have Marnied here. But after the Marnie, I think Tropical Hour GX would be insane. They're down to a 4-card hand that you're going to knock out the Jirachi. They don't draw off of... I would get the Buzzmosa there and quick ball it away. Oh no, wait, what? Yeah. Because you don't need to get the Dragonite anymore if you go with this play. I would also Voltage Beat to thin out the deck, because there's 2 grass energy left in the deck. Okay, so... here I'm trying to follow like the line and then say what I would do with the next step, but to dial it all the way back to the beginning of this line here, I would voltage beat first to a grass energy to Mew so I can tropical hour, and then tag call for Buzzmosa and quick ball it away to then Kricketune for an extra 2 cards. But T-Lackey also brings up a good point that you give them Oricorio GX following a Marnie. Oh wait, how many welders are they down? Okay, down 3 welder. 6 fire energy, which isn't a lot, but down 3 welder. With a 24 card deck, which is fairly large. I mean, I think you're pretty good here to just pass again. But there's no Dedenne in the deck, which hurts. But there, you could voltage beat because it doesn't matter. Because if the Mewtwo in any way gets, however it would get knocked out, you lose anyway. So like voltage beat's fine. But yeah, it would be a little worrying to give them Oricorio. But I also think you are put in such a strong position by doing it, because you also knock out the Jirachi and shuffle 3 energy into the deck. So, oh wait, actually, no. This is so good, because if you shuffle all the energy into the deck, they have to have Hearth, they have to have Welder, and it has to go to Blown, and then they need X amount of energy from the Blown because Zard can't be the thing that knocks it out anymore. So they'll need 3 energy, Hearth 3 energy, 2 of those energy has to be before the Welder and the Welder, and then attach the 3rd and then discard 4 energy with Fireball Circus to knock out Mew2. So they need 7 energy, a Welder, a Hearth, and they need to get some of that in the correct order. You don't know, you know that he didn't have Hearth or Welder in the original hand. Yeah, so that's what makes the Marnie kind of sus. Yeah, I agree with that logic. Also, yeah, I agree with that. Hour makes him shuffle. Yeah, Hour makes him shuffle, so like the bad cards that were likely, or some of the cards that were not helping them progress their turn that Marnie put to the bottom of the deck are now back to the top. So, or potentially back at the top. So I guess that's like good that some of those cards that weren't helpful before have a chance to not be at the bottom anymore because it's fully randomized now. Eldegoss is in the deck though, so like it's just game next turn. I like this because I feel like if you don't Tropical Hour there, I feel like you're just playing to not lose. And in this scenario, you're actually trying to win. Like, do you know what I'm saying, chat? Like, I feel like with a Syncate pass, you're like hoping they don't kill you. But with this play, you're taking the aggression and making them have it. So they have the Hearth. The Blown's in the active. It could happen here. There's the attach. They already oried, so Blazer and then game maybe? Wait. What did I just witness? They mind reported and then Hearthed. Maybe they're okay. I mean that's game. So Metachamp gets the dub here. Just quick ball, grab LD, grab boss. Maybe the opponent just like conceded, like understands that they can't do anything, and so they just made that sickening play of mind report then Hearth. Could be. I don't know. But Metachamp ends up winning. So it was definitely not a... Did the opponent have the Mewtwo in hand pre-Marnie? And did we know about Mewtwo? Wait. I'm not sure what you're saying. No, we don't know about the Mewtwo. Wait. That could change everything. Yeah, they quick... Oh, wait. T-Lackey, that's a good point. Yeah. They had Mewtwo in the hand pre-Marnie. I'm trying to think what that means for us, because then if we knock out the Jirachi and don't Tropical... So if we knock out the Jirachi Tropical Hour, we we give them boss if they need it, potentially. Yeah, I think there's a... I don't remember if there's a boss in our discard. We'll have to see. Let's see. I know that Metachamp looked at this card at some point. Oh, no, they played boss on, like, turn 2. So, yeah, they definitely had boss in there. For opponent, there was boss. So... No, the opponent's boss I was talking about, because the Mewtwo in hand. So, here, before this Marnie... They do, so T-Lackey's right, they have Mewtwo in hand. They showed it to us with the premature search again. So quick ball to get a Mewtwo. So if we knocked this out and didn't Marnie them, then they can put boss to the top of the deck and then Oricorio for 3. And then they just need a stadium and an energy to win. So Marnie was 100% correct here if we're taking a knockout. But in the end, Metachamp ends up winning regardless. But, yeah, I mean, a matchup that maybe you wouldn't think was going to have a lot to discuss. Eggrow, Rillaboom, Mewtwo versus Tempo Zard. It wasn't perfectly clean from either side, but Metachamp ended up getting the win because... so the opponent made some egregious mistakes. Where Medichamptcg also, you know, had a pretty big one where not checking prizes, then super growth to not evolve up into Rillaboom on that turn, which was pretty bad for them, but ended up coming out with the Dubski anyway, because at the end of the day, still played better than the opponent, because the opponent had some very questionable things going on. So yeah, thank you for submitting this VOD review, Metachamp, and I hope that some of this was helpful. Some of the feedback from myself and the chat was helpful. And I was saying this earlier on stream, I think maybe before my power went out, that if you're a Twitch subscriber, you can go upload
Rilla.
VOD reviews to Google Drive and then share the link with me in the subs only channel on Discord. Or if you're a patron, you could just message it to me on Patreon. And hopefully I'll get to do these like once a month. If I get submissions, like we can do a whole night of them. Or if we get enough submissions, I'll do them like twice a month or something like that. So especially when Chilling Reign comes out, we could do more because there'll be more new matchups. And also for patrons, I don't do this for Twitch subs yet, but for patrons I do deck techs and deck submissions and everything. Like the other night we played my patron Tommy's green Urshifu Rapidash deck. So if anybody's a Patreon already and interested in that, we can do that too. So just let me know if you have any questions about submitting the stuff.